with my wild hair again.
Whoa. Young Jake.
Yeah, you gotta have that wild hair, man. It's quarantine time.
It is, man. I barely got it together today. So
Yeah?
I have a shirt on. We got pants on. It's good.
Awesome. I'm sorry, I don't know where my tripod was for this one, so I think I'm gonna have to maybe go there. Oh, James Vito, what's up, dude? So I'm gonna maybe hold it like real. I'm gonna be okay. But hey, you know what? We're gonna just launch into it because you know what's exciting is that Claire. Is that still me?
Is that what?
Still me?
This mystery of the clicking. So let me tell everyone. So we are gonna try to get Cedric in. If he doesn't pop in, then he and I are gonna do this interview later this afternoon. But we had a little bit of issues of getting his time in, so we'll look. And if he jumps in, awesome. If not, Jake and Paige, our outreach director, and I are gonna kind of go back and forth and do some fun stuff. So stick with us. But we'll get Cedric on. If not on this session, he and I will jump on tonight and record a little interview for you guys. So either way, we're here. ACA's here. Jake, thanks for joining me.
For sure.
Oh, you're looking for here.
It's really weird. I don't know. I feel like my microphone's screwed up again. And I don't like it.
It's not as bad as last time, so.
I don't like it one bit. So I'm gonna plug in my this.
Cool. So yeah, guys. While Jake's taking care of that, this is our new series, INSTACHATS. Some people were asking about ACA Next. So ACA Next really is our program between visual arts, performing arts. It's how we are connecting with another, really like the next generation of our audience members. And it's how we're kind of moving into this like different technological atmosphere of how we program. So expect to see a lot more of what we're doing on Instagram and doing a lot more outreach. And you'll see in some of these interviews, we'll be interviewing people from all different realms of art, but we will also be really focusing on like who are some of these like up and coming people that you may not have heard about, but you need to know. So that's really the point of the series, and we plan to do this until we can't do it anymore, until they tell Jake and I we have to go.
What can't we do?
Oh no, I was saying we're gonna continue doing this until they kick us out and tell us we can't do it anymore.
What, the Instagram chats?
Yeah.
Man.
Cool. So I saw Paige just jumped in. Awesome.
Cool.
So what I'm gonna do, guys, because I want Jake's on. Hey Jake, but I'm gonna kick you off.
Thank goodness. Ugh.
But wait, don't do anything yet, Jake, because I have to figure out how to.
I think I just need to leave, and she's gonna request.
Yeah. So Paige, go ahead and request to come in. Jake's gonna roll out. Jake, I love you, buddy.
Love you too, Clayton. Love all these people watching. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Okay, right. I'm out.
Thanks, buddy. Cool. So let me get Paige in. Add. Paige is there.
Hi, Clayton.
My work buddy, everyone.
How you doing? It's good to see your face.
I know. So I feel like I've seen everyone else. I've seen a lot of the people we work with, like in passing. I haven't seen you in person.
I know.
2 months.
I know. It's a long time.
I know. Paige is usually I'm the one that usually like goes to her desk. I'm bothering her all day long. Paige, I need you. Paige, I want to talk about TV. Paige, let's talk about. Awesome.
No, I love it. I miss like everyone's energy. I miss being in the space. It's definitely such a strange and reflective time in so many ways, and it's so refreshing to have space away to like pull back and think a little and really take time to, like, for me, hone in on some artists that are doing incredible work. But it's also just, I went into the building and it's so bizarre. I feel like it's been so away from like my work family for so long.
Right.
I'm missing that before. Yeah.
It's I was there a few days ago. It really is and you got everybody that has been in our building. It's just always full of life.
Yeah.
So it's so weird to see it just like everything's at a halt.
Yeah.
And even though we all know we'll be back and things will be thriving there, hopefully sooner than later, it is a little defeating to walk in that place and you're like, oh, I miss the energy, I miss the chaos, I miss the smell of that coffee that I don't drink at
having to make your own. Yeah, for sure. I've never cooked this much at home, so I've learned a lot about my cooking skills for sure in the last few weeks.
And how would people rate your cooking skills?
Yeah, what's that?
How would people rate your cooking skills?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm pretty good. I'm getting better.
Nice. So I was telling everyone, Jay came on for a bit, but you know, we're gonna see if Cedric can. If he comes in, then we'll come in. But if not, then he and I will jump on later this evening.
Definitely.
So he had some stuff he's working through on time. So we're gonna make this happen. But also, I mean, I planned on having you in next month, but this is great because you guys, everybody on this that I'm seeing people roll through, and guys, we're also gonna be taking questions. So like, ask questions, and we're happy to answer them. We'll stop conversation to do that. But Paige is our outreach director, and that means a whole bunch of things. So Paige, in like the brief abbreviated version, what do you do at the ACA?
Yes. So I've been with the organization, you know, I landed in Lafayette after Katrina. So I've worked in different capacities with the ACA. I've been a teaching artist, education, and then I shifted into outreach. And so a large portion of my time is like how we're nurturing, with the heart of everything that we do at ACA goes back to our individual artists. So how we're nurturing individual artists, how we're serving them, how we're working with them, how we're listening to the needs, whether that's connecting them to our education programs, whether that's connecting them to resources like grants or honing their skills of stronger grant writing skills, whether that's connecting them with what you do to performance, or Jaik does to our galleries, or what Gwen, our community development director, does to working with organizations outside. So I think of myself as the thread between all of our programs. And so the beautiful thing about that I love is how flexible it is. So it's changes year to year. It changes month to month. There's some programs that are really grounded, like our Art Spark program, like our Silent Beats, like Play It Again, some of our grant programs for education. But I really do shift a lot. I really do a lot of listening. I really try to be involved in the community and our outside organizations, social service organizations, what the needs are for them, how we're doing, plugging in the things that we're doing with ACA, but actually bringing it out of the building and extending it on. Nice. So it's kind of a, and I love that.
Yeah, Paige is, I mean, she's, in a given day, I see you're all over the place. And it's cool. She gets to work with each of the kind of big programming divisions, with education, community development, with performing arts, what I do, and with visual arts. So, so yeah, she gets to like touch all of us in a different way. And she really is, I mean, Paige, the work you've been doing, she spends so much time with artists, and she also spends a lot of time reminding us of like, hey, don't forget about the artists. Like, we get so caught up in our programming. So she's like, how is this affecting our local artists, affecting the individuals that make our community up? So thank you always. I tell you this a lot, but thank you all the time for all the stuff that you do. So a piece of what I wanted to, like, last week, Jaik and I kind of like bragged a little bit about all the work we were doing, but I think you've been such an integral part of just like keeping us really focused throughout this whole pandemic thing, this unknown period we're in right now. But you've been really good at like keeping us focused on how do we assist the artists? How do we make sure that we're thinking about them, and how do we make sure we're getting stuff to them immediately? Which I feel like it's been a really great feat that we've accomplished to get resources and get things out to people within a couple of weeks after we were all home.
Right.
So talk a little bit about creative relief, because we talk about it a lot, and I know it's like on the website a lot, and kind of give people a rundown. And you can talk a little bit about the work we've done with creative relief.
Yeah, I mean, so I think, you know, our mode, and I'll say I'm having these feelings of Katrina coming back. I mean, our feeling is like right when something like this happens, especially in the line of work we do, we know the struggle that individual artists are at. We know that they're contract employees, that they're components of creativity and managing themselves as an artist. I mean, I am constantly amazed at how our artists are juggling all of these aspects, especially some not always easy and resources can be challenging. So when this happened, we immediately went into how do we gather, because there was so much that we shared, right? There's so many programs that popped up. People immediately wanted to educate and lend their hand and say, how can we raise funds and how can we support these artists? So if you visited our website, we have just like a COVID page that's constantly changing, because resources, grants, and support, and especially for our artists that do not have health insurance, there's been so many emergency programs that have popped up to help with medical needs. So we're trying to keep that updated, trying to change that out, and getting a lot of emails and having specific things for artists and trying to connect those artists with specific programs if it's bigger than what we can do. And then we also had done the Lost My Gig Foundation. That was something that came in quickly and was going to our musicians. But we serve all artists. And so we, of course, wanted to do some fundraising efforts to put in small stipends that could go directly out to them. So we had some generous donors, and really grateful for those donors that stepped up and were able to put in some funds where artists could apply. We were able to fund to provide stipends for about 100 artists immediately that are going out as we speak. And it's a small stipend of $300. I know it's not a lot, but it's also, you know, help for services that they may need in day. Because putting together and navigating unemployment or any of the services we might need right now take time. So we're hoping that this is just something that can support. But then in the bigger picture of thinking, and I encourage anyone listening to this, we're also gathering information of what it might look like when we're moving back into whatever our normal might be within the next month or so. It's taught me a lot about how artists are managing themselves. And I think some of those things we assume we are working in grant services, so we know we might need. But I do think right now, everyone's in a place to like pull back a little bit, and being in an organized place that you're filing your taxes and you're having all of these things in line, and that you're thinking bigger, and that you might really have an emergency preparedness plan. Things start to shift for our contract employees. That's really helpful. So people have been sharing with me what they might need. And right now, as programmers, we're looking at those things of professional practices and how we can incorporate those into the work we do at AcA.
Nice. Yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, one of the things we talk a lot about, like what are those issues that a lot of artists all universally have. And it's not just Acadiana specific. I think most like artists that at the beginnings of their career, or a lot of artists that have been working forever, you know, when we talk about just the barriers of like getting insurance, setting up LLCs or nonprofit statuses, filing taxes, all those things that we've now run across have been barriers for helping people get the resources they need. So what would you, I mean, you know, like what have been some of the tips, advice you've been giving to people, if anyone's listening now, like, and they're kind of lost, just trying to figure out like, how do I navigate
Right.
the next month or so?
Yeah. You know, I sat on a phone call with the Baton Rouge Arts Council, and they've got some great resources right now, and they're doing incredible work too. And the director there just said something simple that really clicked for me about not staying within just your community, in your art community, and really looking for right now. And I think what a great time it is right now for individuals that might not be in our sector, that might not be in the arts sector, that are wanting to help people stabilize themselves, to know more about managing yourself as the business-minded aspect that we don't, as artists, really get the training in. If you've gone through a program and through a university setting, you might get it in small pieces. But I think when she said, look further, it's a great time right now to tap into webinars that aren't always just run by arts organizations, to tap into services, to really ask those questions and spend a little bit of time digging in with that, and really listening to individuals that this is what they do. You know, it's okay to not be a master at taxes and organizing yourself. It's not something that we're all naturally as artists trained in doing. And sometimes we think we have to do it all. And in a sense, you do for yourself. It's also like it's really great to like lean on other organizations and lean on others right now to learn some of those skills.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I mean, it's the cool thing, the only thing about our organization is like we all are also artists that work in these administrative positions, and we've all had to navigate. You know, you and I talk a lot. We've both, Paige and I both like lived in New Orleans for a while. And you lived in New York?
I didn't.
Yeah. But you were in?
I was in Massachusetts for a while, and then in Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
Right. So like Paige is kind of going around. Like we always talk about just the, like, we know like in our 20s and even a little bit into our 30s, like this, like how hard it is to just work as an artist, because you're so focused on the work and you forget that entire other side that is the side that creates sustainability, creates longevity.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but you know, I think one of the great things about the ACA, a lot of people see us as like this cool venue, but we are, you know, we are the arts council for our area, and our job is to support the work of artists in our community. And for me, I always tell people, I'm like, what that means is like to make sure that artists in our community can stay here and actually thrive and work as artists.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always trying to figure out ways to make that happen. So
right. Definitely.
It's an interesting time, Paige. I mean, I don't even know what to talk about. Like this whole thing, I was on the call earlier today that was a little defeating, and it was with all these venues in the South. Mm-hmm. And everyone's frustrated, and there was like people arguing, and I think it's just like everyone wants to have answers, but there's really no answers right now. Mm-hmm. And in the midst of this, you know, we're talking about venues becoming open and when can an art gallery open again, but at the end of it, you have all these artists who are just kind of sitting in the back of it and wondering, like, where do I fit into this? Mm-hmm. What happens to me next? Like, what happens in the next month or so?
Right.
To me, what have you come across? Like, what have been some, like, without calling people out, but what have you come across? How are Acadian artists faring through this from what you have seen?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was just having this conversation this morning with Jaik and Claire, and we were discussing like the impact of like if you're working right now, right? Like so many artists are finding this time it's really challenging to work. I mean, we're in a pandemic for the first time, and juggling all of these components, it's not easy to produce work, and some are producing so much work right now. So it's very wide and different at this time. And, you know, for me, I feel like photography has been so grounding because we've seen, I don't know his name. I know his Instagram name, Visions and Verbs out of New Orleans, the photographer who just featured in the New York Times.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So powerful, right? And I think that right now there's so much being documented that's coming out. And as artists are change makers. Artists are what is navigating our conversations, our communities. And I am really interested to see what unfolds.
Yeah, Jake just pointed out, it's Kasimu. I always said, yeah. And I worked with him at Dillon University for a while. He's a pretty amazing, and like, in fact, I'm infatuated with just because he does so much outside of photography also. You know, he's also an educator and works in marketing. Just a cool guy. Yeah,
I don't know him personally, but I do follow his work, and I've just been blown away by what he's captured and the voices that he's given right now, especially in New Orleans. But yeah, I mean, I just think right now is like, there's so much. There's so many. Our artists in Acadiana, from the ones that I've talked to, have all been very eager to work. I know that we work on the Art Spark grant program, and we completed our panel, and those artists will be announced next week to the public.
Nice.
And of those artists that applied, so many of them, this is such a time that they want to hone in, they want to work, that they want to spend this time doing that research. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but right now it's just like day to day it changes, right? Some days I'm so moved by what I see, and some days in conversation artists are withdrawing completely.
Yeah.
And just taking the time, for me personally, it's been a really wake-up call for the obligations of my everyday life.
Yeah.
And how do I shift back into having this personal space that I think has slowed down somewhat for me to like delve a little bit deeper into individuals, into what they're doing, into the voices that they're saying, instead of just like a quick flyby of it and moving on to the next. So meditation is grounding for me right now. And not always a pretty journey, but a journey that's I've been really grateful for at this time. So yeah.
Yeah, and Jake and I in our last conversation, we were talking about it really is. I think throughout there's some days that are like rough to navigate because we're like anxiety and panicking, and then there's some days where you're like out and you're creating and you're building and you're cleaning and all those things. And I think, you know, especially for artists, because we are all people who like, we live a lot in our hearts versus our heads. We just have to be okay with that. We have to be okay with that. There will be some rough days in this because no one knows how to navigate this thing.
Right.
But if you're also taking, you know, while we have this time, it's like, it's a beautiful time to do a lot of things, you know. I mean, I wish I could sleep in. Our little 2-year-old has changed all that.
Right.
All those for me, but you know, I think we won't ever get, hopefully not, we won't ever get this time again. And I just hope a lot of artists are taking that time to reflect and breathe a little bit. And even with us, I mean, our work schedules, I didn't realize how much we worked.
Right.
Until we stopped. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, like we, you know, you go throughout the day and we just like do this thing over and over again, and you forget about like your house or your dog or your family. Or
well, I know. I mean,
people, you know, like
I really do. I live in the Macomb Vise neighborhood, and our house just turned 200 years old this year, and I feel like I have spent so much time with like my wife, and we've cooked these dinners together. There's just been the slowdown of like working in our yard and really acknowledging our neighbors and having them working on their yards or their houses, and like just learning so much about the neighborhood within what I live in.
Right.
That's been so inspiring to me. It's been just beautiful to have that like slow down time to sort of because normally we think of slow down time as a vacation.
Yeah, we leave.
So we're leaving, and this has been somewhat of like a time. I know not for everyone, and I'm really, really mindful and grateful that it has been a slow down time for me. Acknowledgement of my own space and how I move through my day and how it unfolds. So Yeah.
That's why I love talking with you, girl. always enlightening. And guys, along the way, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll try to get them answered. But yeah, I'm with Paige Krause, our outreach director, and we are just talking ACA, creative relief, the things that we've been doing in the community. And, you know, I think obviously the role of ACA in our community is definitely going to shift, and I feel that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we've always had a really important role in the community, but I feel like it's going to be a more vital role. I'm trying to say that and be humble at the same time, but I just know that we're lucky because there's not a lot of towns and communities that have an organization in their community like we do, and also and a lot of people who don't have the space that we do, where it's open to artists to come in and create and do things. As we kind of like just start to wrap up, because I'm still going to do the 5 questions with you. And talk about some things, but if you really have some advice to artists and really how they can, if they're struggling, who can they reach out to? How can ACA be of service to them?
Yeah, you know, I always have such respect for the people that laid the foundation before. And when I started working at ACA, I was so moved and blown away that the organization has been in the community since 1975, and that so many artists or community members, the junior league especially, was forward thinking. And I have to always give a shout out to Sissy Whip. I went to the university here in the dance department, and Sissy would encourage us to go and take classes at Arts Council then, ACA, grant writing classes, pace training. And she said, wherever you go, wherever you land, find your Arts Council. It's the heartbeat of like what artists need to go to, and ask them questions, introduce yourself. Sissy's advice has gotten me a job in every community I've lived in. I mean, I held on to that, and I did. Everywhere I lived, that's where I went, and it helped me in Massachusetts, in Portland, in New Orleans, and then landing back here in Lafayette. And so I love that grassroots Arts Council approach. I do feel like we are a very layered organization, but that Arts Council grassroots approach, I always, going back to your question, long way around it, but I say that artists should really lean on that. Like, you should have a voice in your Arts Council, and you should articulate what your needs are, because as we program, as programmers, we really do listen to that. We really do want that to dictate how we're opening up our season, how we're moving through our year, how we're connecting artists to these programs. We might not can get to all of it, but I promise, I know the team I work with, we listen to all of them and we put them on the table. So reach out to us and connect with us. Tell us what you need.
Yeah. And I think we can all just keep reiterating that. I mean, we are lucky because there is so much, and not even just the people, but I think that the organization itself holds so much knowledge and resources. Yeah. And a lot of it's the people. I mean, outside of the staff, our board members, the people who just like attend Art Walk every month, all the people who are affiliated with us somehow. There's a wealth of knowledge. So I would just say, if you're an artist in this community and you're really just trying to figure out, like, you're just lost, it's like, I don't know what to do, I don't know next steps. You have a community of people, and if it's not us, then we can connect each of those people. Yeah. So, just make sure you're using ACA for what it is. And a lot of times, a lot of people, all they're saying are like, hey, buy a ticket to the show. Here's an email asking for to raise money, and we do. We have to raise money to stay alive. But 90% of what we do is like a lot of things that are really almost behind the scenes a lot. We're working one-on-one with artists. We're going into all the schools in the parish and even St. Landry Parish. We're working at UL. And those are a lot of things that are not like the sexy photographic moments. Right. But, I think over the next few months, it seems like people are probably going to get a better understanding of the full scope of the organization, because this has forced us to really rethink how we connect with people in the community.
Yeah, definitely. And I think community too. I mean, if we're going to look at different ways of how we're engaging, travel is going to be limited. I mean, it's time to really like hone in. And for me, I'm so excited about the way that we can like highlight our artists. Oh my gosh, the ones that we work with continuously that filter in and out of our programs. I mean, you know, Terrence Morgan, the crew, the Kabuki crew, I was talking to the other day, and those guys are such heartfelt individuals, and they're talking about collaborations with people like Leanne Jeremy, and like how they're developing work and how they're going to come out of this for the students, like how they're going to build conversations for the students. And that's so exciting to me. That's the work I love doing, right? Like knowing that that's happening, and how can I just be like a connector for you, or how I can help you fund that, or how it can help you present that, whatever it is, you know, what you need. I love listening to those needs and like moving forward. So
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the work you are doing and we will all be doing. But I know Paige is always our person that like is out there on the ground with our artists, doing the work. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. I love, oh my God, at Acadiana, there's just so much happening here, and the work at AcA. I mean, I've been really, really grateful for having this as my career. I mean, every day, you know, it's like you learn so much from the people that surround you. It's exciting.
Yeah, we're super lucky for sure.
Yeah.
In our work. Cool. So, if you guys are just like, a bunch of y'all just tuned in, Cedric, we had like a little scheduling thing that he's fixing, so we're gonna get him on probably tonight, and we'll record it and make sure it gets out. But I'm so glad we had you on, because it's all important, and we do so much. And over the next few weeks, you guys are gonna see Jaik and I interviewing artists and other people from the community, supporters. It takes a big village to do all the work that we do, and we have a huge village because there's so many artists in this community, and I think people don't really realize like, how many people work as artists in Acadiana.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. We've learned that as programmers when we were pulling all of our spreadsheets together. Oh my gosh. It's incredible. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Paige. So we're gonna end this with our game. So it's just 5 questions, and you just kind of quickly, we're gonna go through them. You answer them the first thing that comes to your head. But before we do that, Jaik is gonna be on Monday at 12:30 with Brandon Ballinger. So I think this is gonna be a super fun time. Tune in, and then I'll be back on next Thursday with one of my old buddies from New Orleans, Brian Batt, who is he's an award-winning actor he was in Batman, and has been a Broadway star, which is I'm infatuated. He was on the original version of Cats. Cool stuff. So we'll be talking to him just about the work that he's been doing in New Orleans and what's coming up.
Nice.
All right, Paige, you ready?
All right. I think so.
No pressure.
Hit
All right.
me. Yep.
So, easy one. All right. Your favorite memory during your time at AcA?
Oh my gosh. My favorite memory. Well, being a dance fan, I have to say, when we brought in John Higginbotham, his work and the work that he did in our community, a lot that we've done through DTI, Dance Touring Initiative, but some of his residency was really incredible for me. Yeah.
All right. The thing you are tired of doing the most from home, while being quarantined. What are you tired of doing?
Washing dishes. I feel like everybody probably says that, but I've never cooked so much, so I'm so tired of washing dishes.
If you have to listen to one song the rest of your life, what would it be? I feel like I have an idea.
Wow. You feel like you have an idea?
Maybe.
Oh gosh, that is really challenging. But I'm a huge Natalie Merchant fan, and it's my go-to. So I have to go to Natalie Merchant. I could listen to her.
Nice. What is the one talent you wish you had?
Oh gosh, musician. If I could play, I've always wanted to be able to play cello.
It's a fun instrument. All right, last one. What have you learned or gained from this entire experience of being home and kind of being on lockdown?
Yeah, what I have, I'm gonna say I've learned a lot about the space within for myself. I mean, I really have been working on my meditation practice, and it again has not been the easiest journey, but it's been the space that I've created daily for myself, and I've learned a lot about that, setting my intention for the day, that's my direction for the day, and I don't want to lose that. I think it's giving myself my own time, which I'm not always the best at doing. But when I can carve out some space to set my day like that, it really does go far, especially when you're serving other people. So yeah, that's what I've learned.
Like, don't you feel healthier when you can do that? Like, actually take time to map out. I mean, I've actually been enjoying the fact that I just don't know what to do sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, because I mean, you and I kind of like the way we like to plan everything out.
Yeah.
Andy would tell you that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I made a mistake, guys. It's not Brandon Balje. On Monday, it's Dirk Gidry with Jaik. Hey, this is our second show, so I'm getting it. I'll get it down.
Nice.
Thanks for the correction, Jaik. So join us Monday, 12:30. Thank you guys for chiming in and for listening and joining us for this little lunch period. I hope you're grubbing and having a good time. All the people, there's a bunch of people in here, but like Janella, I saw Dustin Gaspard, I saw, let me go through this. Olivia from our board.
Oh, it's awesome. All those artists are incredible. I feel like I've heard from a few of them. I know, I'm sorry you keep going, but it's just like all of them are creating and doing such solid work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sissy Whip got a whoop whoop. She got a yes.
Oh, yay. Love Sissy.
So cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. Seth, you're here too from the Foundry. Thank y'all. And I'm hoping we grow this, man. It's a good way for us just to connect and communicate. It's good to see your face after 2 months, Paige.
I know. I miss you. Hugs.
You too. And I can't wait to drop Lila off once we. You've been saying like, oh, I want to babysit. We're like lining up the schedule right now.
Oh my god, give it to me! I can't wait. And keep the videos coming. I love her karaoke Disney videos. She's amazing.
Wow, she's gonna have her own show at some point one day. We'll see.
She needs to be on.
All right, have a good day, my friend.
All right, you too. Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.